Look out for the people who want to be deep, because what they're doing is they're hustling your emotions, and they're hustling your mental state. You understand what I'm saying? When people are seeking information and seeking knowledge to awaken themselves, this is where all of the deep people pop up. You know what I'm saying? They pop in and they pop up and they got this deep information that you need to understand and realize. And this deep information usually is outside of the self information that is really pertaining to things outside of you, and it's so deep. Well, a lot of times that's BS. That is to catch you out there. That is to put you in a state of enslavement and a state of codependency on another person who's deep, because now you become this person's follower, or so on and so forth. You want to go deal with this person because they deep, because they got all the information and so on and so forth, and they got all of these techniques and tools that you could utilize to free yourself, or to elevate yourself on a high spiritual plane, and so on and so forth. But the thing is when you meet these deep people, when they give you all of this deep information, regardless to if it's spiritual, if it's physical, law, whatever, tell these deep people to give you demonstration, to show you the application of whatever they're teaching you that's deep. Have them show you the deep person who is successful in whatever they're teaching you, so that you can learn from that person yourself directly, not from the person who's advocating what another person has done. You see what I'm saying? Deepness is psychology utilized on an individual who doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? When you don't know certain things, you are able to be told things and you don't know. And if it sounds good and it sounds right, 9 times out of 10, you'll take it, and you will run to somebody else and say some things and share what you heard. And you might find out that later on you was duped. So being deep is a hustle. You know what I mean? The truth is direct. You know what I'm saying? I look at all of these deep cats who write books, and they books is like 500-600 pages long. Well, when you lie, you got to continue to lie on top of lies. You understand what I'm saying? But the truth is direct. You know what I mean? It's direct. It goes right to the point. It's brief. It don't take thousands and thousands of pages to tell the truth. It only takes a few. But it takes thousands and thousands of pages, you know what I'm saying, to cover a lie. It takes 5 or 6 hour lectures to cover lies. You understand what I mean? So, my lecture could be 30 minutes. And in 30 minutes, I'm going to give you a whole bunch of stuff in 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be truth. You know what I mean? I don't have to work around it and come back to it and work in a big old circle and work my way back to confuse you and get deep with you and use all of this deep shit to have you thrown off, then to throw something back in your face. Like the whole thing about metaphysics, which came from Aristotle. You know what I'm saying? Aristotle, wrote a book on metaphysics, and it had nothing to do with spirituality. It actually had everything to do with existence and why things exist. And, and why they exist, and not the special qualities of why they exist, but just existence and why existence exists. That's basically it. And that came out of Plato's theory of forms, which basically was the non-substantial reality is the reality, and that which we see isn't. That was Plato's ideology, and Plato was a student of Socrates, and Socrates learned from the Chemetics, from the ancient Kemites. You know what I'm saying? He learned the lesser mysteries. You know what I mean? He studied in school for a little while. He didn't learn much, but he learned the lesser mysteries, which is why he was kicked out of Greece for bringing in African deities. You understand? And having teaching the Greeks about the African deities. You know what I mean? So again, metaphysics has nothing to do with the cosmos and the wounded, the wounded man or the X chromosome and the Y chromosome being crooked and so on and so forth, and all of this deep stuff. All of these things about, living, just all of this crap that you hear that can't be substantiated, proven, or validated. You know what I'm saying? Some things are just theoretical ideas, you know what I mean, that can't be substantiated and fixed. But it sounds so crazy, and we be like, oh, that's mad deep. And it's not deep. It's not deep at all. It's a lie. You know what I'm saying? It's a hustle to get you to buy into some bullshit that you will buy into. And, you'll buy into it because you trust the person that's giving it to you because they got a record of being deep. Deep doesn't save our people. Deep confuses them further. You understand what I'm saying? We need to have things broken down to the most simplest form so that we can understand. Those of you who want to be deep, you are enslaving your people. You know what I'm saying? You're making them codependent on your deepness. You know what I'm saying? Because they come to you to seek information, any of you, and you get deep with them. You understand what I mean? Deepness is not the answer. Deepness is filling your pockets up, making you wealthy off the pain of your own people who are truly seeking. Stop being deep. You understand what I'm saying? Because being deep is getting us in more trouble. I'm not deep at all. I'm far from deep. You know what I mean? But I'm going to give it to you the way you need to have it. You understand what I mean? And I'm not seeking any followers. I'm not seeking for you to come to me and be codependent upon the words I say. You know what I'm saying? Because I have shortcomings also. You know what I mean? I'm developing myself consistently as I'm speaking to you. You know what I mean? So I'm not here to pull you in, to draw you in. I'm here to help. I'm here to do my part. You know what I'm saying? Spread the message. You know what I mean? Disseminate information. That is my job. And brothers, stop being deep because you hanging yourself. And we can see through that nonsense, man. You know what I mean? Your deepness is getting our people further in shit. So stop. And next time, if it keeps going on, I'm going to start calling your names out. You understand? Because I've done it before and I'll do it again. I don't have a problem calling out names. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I don't have a problem doing it and I will. Stop being deep and start being real. Peace.